Hello everybody, welcome to Talk About Houses. I'm Todd.
I'm Oana.
Okay, so there was a comment on the blog, what's going to happen when everybody's upside down when the market collapses, right? Oana, tell me first about what's the false premise there?
Well, so a couple things. First of all, there are three things that could happen to the market, right? The market could go up, it could basically flatten out, or it could go down. Considering what's happening currently, the chances are that maybe it won't keep going up this way, but maybe it will taper a little bit, or it will flatten out. The chance of it going down right now are really not in the cards because inventory levels are not there. But that aside, keep in mind that the situation this time is a whole lot different than it was back in 2007, 8, 9, and so on, because
we're going to talk about that in a second.
Okay.
So we're going to before we talk about what happened the last time, we're going to talk about what's going on right now. We're going to give you a scenario.
Okay.
Because they like scenarios.
Okay.
So I'm going to put up this slide. Okay. So let's say you bought your house last year in 2021, and you paid $300,000 for it, which was you could have bought a decent home last year. Okay. You put 30% down. Now that's the median. So that means half the people put a little less, and half the people put all the way up to 100%. They just paid cash for it, right? So they can never technically be upside down.
So remember, in this scenario is also the 27% of people who paid cash outright.
Right.
So this is an important number because 27% of the houses do not have a mortgage, and that's super important because they are going to continue to support property values, right? Because they're not sensitive to what's happening out there.
Okay, so you got a loan for $210 because you put $90,000 down, and you got a loan for $210. You had 2.75% interest rate. Okay, your monthly payment $857, principal and interest. That doesn't include taxes and insurance. If you want to rent the same house, it's $2,000. And there were a lot of investors that were coming in, buying a house, putting 20, 30, 40% down, and then renting it out and all positive cash flow. They're all making money on the house, okay?
Yeah.
Now, that house today is worth $350,000. In order for it to get to 210, for them to be upside down, the market would have to collapse 40%. Okay, so let's talk about the first kind of false premise here, Oana. You have a 2.5% interest rate and you pay less than $1,000 a month. On what planet would you freak out and sell your house because you lost some equity and then rush into a $2,000 a month? Like, who would do that in their wild? Like, why would anyone want to sell their house when they have such a smoking great interest rate?
All right, so people wouldn't. The bottom line is, look, Americans in particular are less concerned about the sticker price and more concerned about their debt servicing, right? So if your payment on your house is under $1,000, on no planet would you say, oh, well, I'm going to go ahead and chuck that and make no money and then go out and rent the same house for $2,000. That doesn't make any sense. It's not logical. The only way that you would even remotely consider that is if you had to move. But even if you had to move, you would probably still look at the same cash outflow and go, well, it doesn't make sense to me to sell it because I'm upside down, so I may as well rent it and put the extra $1,000 in my pocket.
Okay, now it obviously makes no sense to sell your house just because you've lost some equity. Even if you somehow even if you just bought your house last week and you got a 100% loan from the VA, and you still are going to have a better mortgage payment than paying rent. So even if home prices go down, you wouldn't care. This is not like the stock market where you get a margin call and you have to sell, right? Let's talk about when the housing crashed. How that was substantially different. It was substantially. So let's talk about the scenario with rents, like owning and buying, because interest rates weren't 3, 4, 5%. They were more.
Interest rates were more, and so it was more problematic back then, right? Because first of all, interest rates were higher. Second of all, people would get into these houses and they would not have any skin in the game. They would not have any equity because they were getting 100% loans, and maybe they were getting a 25% home equity loan on top of that. So now they owed 125% on the house. So people were doing that for a variety of reasons. Some of it were to, furnish the house and do all that sort of thing. Some of it was to buy a new boat, buy a new car, go on vacation, whatever it was. But none of it really went to improve the property and help it grow in value. So all of that caused part of the problem. The other thing was that there were people who purchased homes with the belief that that homes would appreciate at a greater rate than the debt that they had to service. So let me give you an example. We know people, for example, one person in particular who had 11 homes, count them, 11 homes. And this person, out of the 11 homes, she lived in one and rented out 2 others to friends who were not paying market rent, and the rest were sitting there vacant because the idea was that homes were appreciating so quickly, this person would be able to flip the homes and make money.
And that was like 2006, end of 2006, when they just couldn't sell the homes wouldn't sell, they couldn't sell them. The other thing is that these people, because they were speculating, and the high interest rates were such that their mortgage payment was $2,500 a month, and they couldn't rent them for that. They would get like $1,500 a month in rent, but they didn't care because remember, because in 2004 and 5, the way the game worked is you would buy the house, let it sit vacant for 6 months and sell it for $100,000 more maybe, right? Or $50,000 more. You would make money on it. And so people got excited, and then they said, hey, I should just buy as many homes as I can. So they would go get a loan, buy 5 houses, 0 money down, and with out the appropriate income, and they were doing this. Okay, what was interesting about that was that as soon as the market value fell and they realized they were upside down, they also were screwed on a monthly basis because they were paying all this money. So they just said, hey, strategic default, like I don't want the house, and then I'll just let it go back to the bank, and I'll just move into a rental and pay less money. They all did that. This time, no one's doing that. No one's going to do that because their payment for their house is less than they could rent. So you'd be dumb to dump your house, whether you're upside down or not. But most people, on average, the market would have to fall 40% before they get back to break even. 40% to get back to break even. And then they'd still be dumb to just sell the house, say, oh my gosh, I'm just going to take the huge loss. What they would be better doing is if they had to move or something, just move and let the house be a rental because you're still positive cash flow. Why would you sell the house? Why would anyone sell the house and give? This is the same argument for the time the market. Okay, you're going to sell your house now and give up that 2.75% interest rate and then buy back in 3 years when interest rates maybe are 5 or 6% potentially. Why would you do that?
Right. So this is an important argument to kind of keep in mind. The market today is different than it was then. We have different moving parts.
Yeah, a lot different.
And it still makes sense at this point to hang on to houses for the most part. Now, everybody's situation is different, and I acknowledge that. So look at what makes sense for you. But kind of en masse, right now is not necessarily the time to bail because there's no profit in bailing right now. I mean, yes, you might, get some money on the front end, but then it costs you money on the back end as far as paying high rents that are more than the debt that you're servicing on your mortgage.
And if you decide you want to sell your Las Vegas house because you can't stand it anymore, give us a call. We will gladly help you sell your house.
Right, and if you have a house somewhere else that you want to sell, give us a call anyway. We have a network of agents that are ready to help you. So we can help you no matter what. That's a shameless plug. You have to kind of put up with us. But for the most part, look, real estate is hyper-local. Your situation is very individual to you. The information that we're giving you is not financial advice. It's just information as far as what the market is doing and what math makes sense and what math doesn't make sense.
And we're not telling you not to sell your house. If you need to sell your house, sell your house. But we're just saying is we just don't see what's going to cause the market to collapse. Like all the things, like what's funny, Oana? There's this thing now where everyone's touting the number of, this is so funny. They're not touting home prices because home prices are still going up. The inventory is still relative. It's way, way low, even though it's climbing a little, which it does every year at this time. It's after April, it starts climbing. They're all fantasizing about the number of houses where the list price has dropped. We should do a whole video on this. We're going to talk about it in this video. They've dropped their list price. Like 28% of all houses have dropped their list price. Oh my gosh, the market's going to collapse. That's like the most ridiculous. It's a list price. And okay.
Okay, so the only thing I'm going to say about list price, a list price is an invitation to make an offer. That's all it is.
Yeah, but there's a reason why this is happening. We'll do a whole video and talk about this. So anyway, the bottom line is, if you're even if you do somehow get to upside down, most people still won't sell. This is nothing like the last time. And remember, it took from 06 to somewhere between 2009 and 2011 to really, depending on what market you're in. In Vegas, it was 2006 to 2011. Mm-hmm. It took 5 years for the market to lose, all that value.
Right.
So I just don't see that happening here. Just don't see it. So, I mean, if we were jonesing for a bunch of listings, we would be on making videos every day talking about the market crash and imploring you to immediately call us to sell your house. And we would just, that would be great. We'd be happy. And what's funny is these people doing this, even as the market's climbing, mm-hmm. and they're, oh my gosh, the market's going to, 2020, I did a video, said the market won't collapse. 2021, beginning of the year, did a video. You can go back and just look through our channel, and you can see the videos I made where I said the market won't collapse, it's not going to collapse. And all the people that harassed me, I should go back to all the comments and respond to them, because they're like, it's going to fall this year. This is the year. It's like the 5th year in a row you said this was the year. It's not going to happen. Could they go down? Sure, they could go down, but who cares? I mean, every time you make a payment, mm-hmm. you reduce the equity on your house. You're still paying less than rent.
You increase the equity on your house.
You increase the equity. You reduce the loan on your house. You're still not paying rent, and you have this smoking super great interest rate. Like, why would you want to mess that up? I mean, at this point, the people who refied it, and now that rates went up, look like geniuses.
Yes.
So, okay, what else? I'll give you the final words on this.
So the bottom line is, different market, and it's going to have a different outcome. Hang in there. It'll be fine. Okay. Look, real estate is cyclical, and welcome to real estate, and come along for the ride.
All right. Thanks for watching the whole video. Please subscribe, hit the notification bell. Share the video. If you really like the video and you're one of our big fans, you watch it all the way to the end. Share it. Put it on Facebook. Say, hey, look at these people in Vegas and what they think. Maybe it'll change your mind or get you actually thinking. We're just trying to get you to think about something other than the 90% of all other YouTubers who are making a ton of money from the market's going to crash. They make a ton. They get way more views than we get, and I just I think it's shameful, but whatever. So
and I want to give a shout out. We've got some people who are emailing us different data points, and we appreciate that. We appreciate the links to different data sources, so thank you. We appreciate it, and we appreciate all the comments. Please keep them coming.
All right, we'll see you on the next video.
Bye.
Bye.